Welcome to Whole and Healthy Cooking with Chef Val. I am Chef Valerie Wilson. I've been teaching healthy cooking classes for 28 years. All my classes are vegan. I use organic ingredients and they're based in macrobiotic principles. Today, I'm so excited to share with you one of my all-time favorite holiday recipes, my caramel corn. I have been making caramel corn since I was in fourth grade. That was the first time that I learned in a home ec class how to make caramel corn. Of course, I've switched up the ingredients to make it healthy, and I make this caramel corn every year. I give it away as Christmas gifts. And literally, I think I've made this recipe more than any other recipe in my whole life. So let's get started. The first thing you need to do is pop your popcorn. So you start with 1 cup of unpopped popcorn. Please get organic. We don't want genetically modified corn. And of course, organic, you have no chemicals, nothing sprayed on it. So please go for organic. I have an air popper. You could use anything that you want to pop the popcorn. If you want to do it on your stove in a big pot, that's fine. If you have some other popcorn, just don't do microwave popcorn, okay? Microwave food is just detrimental to your health. This beautiful air popper I've had for many years. This is a really healthy way to pop your popcorn. You're just using hot air, right? Okay, this is a huge pot I have here to put my popcorn in because we're gonna have to pour the caramel sauce over it and mix it all together. I do believe this is an 18-quart soup pot. This is my largest soup pot that I have in my house. So we have room, to mix the corn and mix the caramel over it. Okay, so I'm gonna have to do this in a couple batches because you have to measure out the popcorn, right? This is a half, right? So in there, and then we turn on the popcorn popper and we pop it. Okay, so that's the first step. We've got to pop our popcorn. All right, so I will be back with the next step. So get your popcorn, pop your popcorn, and get it ready. Now we're going to make the caramel sauce for the caramel corn. Okay, so get yourself a nice saucepan. We're going to put it on the stove. We're going to start with 1/2 cup of a vegan butter substitute. I use Earth Balance buttery spread. Works very, very well. You can find it in the refrigerated section. Okay, that's what I use. And we have 1 cup of maple syrup. All right, so here's my cooking tip for you. I am going to take the measuring cup that I'm going to measure the maple syrup and the brown rice syrup in, and I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in there so that the maple syrup and the brown rice syrup don't stick to the measuring cup. So we want 1 cup of maple syrup. I have a really nice organic maple syrup. I'm going to pour it in there like so. And then we're going to put 1/2 cup of an organic brown rice syrup. Brown rice syrup is my favorite sugar substitute. If you've attended any of my cooking classes, you know brown rice syrup is my favorite. Caramel corn. I use more of the maple syrup because the caramel corn needs to be just sweeter. I mean, caramel corn is just sweeter. Let's face it, all right? So then I put a pinch of sea salt in there. Now I'm going to turn the temperature up to high because I have to get that caramel sauce boiling. Now, as I mentioned before, I've been, making caramel corn. So I learned how to make it in fourth grade in school. But of course, the recipe that I learned how to make in school used 1 cup of butter, 1/2 cup of butter, 1 cup of corn syrup, and I believe it was a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. So I did the substitution for the vegan healthy version. I substituted the vegan butter substitute, the maple syrup, and the brown rice syrup. And so it came out wonderful. In fact, when I switched over my diet, and I've been teaching classes for 28 years, and I switched over a couple years before that because I had to, apprentice and work in a cooking school to learn the macrobiotic cooking and the healthy organic way to cook. So I'd say about 30 years I've been living this lifestyle. And before that, every year for Christmas, I'd make caramel corn and I'd give it to my whole family and friends for gifts. So I switch over my diet. I start changing everything to healthy, organic, macrobiotic. And my family said, Val, you can't change your caramel corn recipe. You can't. It has to be the same. It's the best caramel corn ever. So you know what I did? I changed the caramel corn. I substituted the brown rice syrup and the maple syrup, got rid of the corn syrup. I gave it as my Christmas gifts to everybody. I did not tell them. And they were eating the caramel corn and they were loving it, saying, oh, Val, this is the best caramel corn ever. You can never change this recipe. And then I said, I already did. They could not tell the difference. They could not tell the difference. All right, it's starting to boil. Now we want to make sure that all that butter substitute is melted and that it gets to a boil. Now, this caramel corn recipe I have in my year-round healthy holiday dishes cookbook. It's right here, caramel corn. And here's a beautiful picture of it. This cookbook is for sale on my website, macroval.com. Not only does it cover Christmas and Thanksgiving, I've got holidays throughout the year, like Valentine's Day, Easter, all those recipes are in this cookbook, so check it out. So once the caramel corn gets to a boil, you have to set your timer for 15 minutes. This caramel has to cook for 15 minutes, no more, no less. If you go too long over the 15 minutes, then it starts to get hard and you start to create hard candy. We don't want hard candy. If you don't boil it for 15 minutes, then it's going to be really, really soft. And it's not going to act the way it should when it's caramel, okay? All right, so you want to get to a rapid boil going there, right? I'm checking it out. Yes, we are at a rapid boil. Now, turn the temperature down to low and set your timer for 15 minutes. 15 minutes exactly, okay? So I'm going to pause the recording again, set the timer for 15 minutes, and we'll be back when this caramel is done. Okay, 30 seconds left and the caramel will be done. Do you see how I have it on low, but it's like a slow boil. This has been going on for 15 minutes and my kitchen smells amazing. And I've been snacking on some popcorn too. I cannot pop popcorn and not have a few kernels, right? Here we go. Let's count down. Here we go. There we go. Done. All right. Shut the timer off, or not the timer, excuse me, the heat. Okay. Shut the heat off. I'm going to move the camera over here so you can see what I'm going to do. Okay. Bring the caramel corn over here, the caramel sauce over here. Oof. Now I have this set up. I've got my caramel. I've got my popcorn. We are also adding 1 cup of peanut. Okay. That's optional, but the peanuts really add to it. Okay. While it's still hot, you got to do this quickly. You're going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder, right? And the baking powder is going to make this fluff up and expand. 2 teaspoons, mix it in there, okay? Got to do this quickly. You got to do, making caramel corn, you got to do this quickly. There's, stuff that happens and the caramel corn cannot get, the caramel sauce cannot get cooled down. It turned white and it started to go like this and expand. That's what you want to happen, okay? All right, now you pour it over the popcorn quickly, okay? So that you can get the popcorn completely covered with the caramel sauce. I do it kind of in batches because I want to make sure that everything gets covered, all right? So you can kind of see even more. There's all these bubbles. I hope you can see that in the camera. It's so hard in the camera, but bubbles and stuff, it's expanded. All right, so I'm going to pour maybe about half of it on there, and I'm going to start mixing it. Okay, you got to do it quickly because the caramel may set up, right? You want to cover all the kernels of popcorn. Ow, you get a little bit of caramel on your finger. It's very, very hot. Be a little bit careful. Okay, so we started with 1 cup of unpopped popcorn. Once it was popped, I measured it and it's 24 cups of popped popcorn. That's 24 cups, okay? Now I poured a little bit more of the caramel sauce in there. Again, mixing it so it gets all over all the caramel. This makes, oh, the caramel's so good, but when it gets on your fingers, it's hot. This makes a huge amount of caramel corn for you. I would not advise doubling this recipe. It's too much to work with. Look at this. We have about 24 cups of popcorn once it's popped. We're in this big, this is my biggest soup pot I have to make this caramel corn. All right, so we got a little bit left in the pot. This goes in last. Okay. By the way, turn your oven on. I already have mine preheated. It's at about 215. You can go like 220. Some stoves you can't get as low as 215. So 215, 220, even 225 is fine. You're gonna cook this caramel corn for 1 hour and you're gonna stir it every 15 minutes. Now, if you want to make caramel corn balls, because some people like that, instead of baking it in the oven so it becomes crunchy, right now is when you would form it into balls. Although it's very, very hot, I don't know how you could touch it with your hands. You'd have to wait a few minutes. But I was even asked that just the other day about caramel corn balls. I personally, I think maybe I've done that once. I just prefer it, baked in the oven so it becomes crispy. Now I can see from mixing it all together that it looks like all of the popcorn is covered with caramel. Look at that. Yum. Okay, now I have set up the table over here. So I'm going to move this over here and I'm going to move the camera so you can see what I've done with the table over here to continue with the process of getting the caramel corn ready to go into the oven, right? Just move over here. Make sure you can see it. Yes. All right. So I've got four cookie sheets. Okay. And I've put a little bit of olive oil on the cookie sheets because the caramel is sticky, right? Now I'm going to divide this caramel corn in the 4 cookie sheets, trying to be even so that it can bake. I would not advise doing it on parchment paper because it's just easier if you do it on the cookie sheets where you have a surface where it's going to be easy to mix things together. Okay, that's what you want. All right, here. Okay, just evenly dividing it out into the 4 cookie sheets. Get all that yum caramel sauce out. All right. So the bottom of the pot, all the caramel is out of it, all the popcorn, everything's out of it. Now you just spread this out on the cookie sheet, like so. Make sure you got it kind of evenly. There's kind of a burnt kernel there. We don't want that. Like I said, you're gonna bake this for 1 hour. You're gonna stir it every 15 minutes, and I'll show you that every 15 minutes. I'll turn the camera back on and show you what it looks like. And then after the 15 minutes, it's going to be crunchy. So after it bakes in the oven for 1 hour, you need to get prepared to have some type of, see, I have a couple, I don't know what to call them, containers or a big bowl or something, because you're going to take the caramel corn out of the oven and you're going to put it in there, and then because it's hot and it's sticky, it's going to kind of hold together. So as it sits there in that container, every few minutes I go over and I just kind of break it up with my spoon, and as the caramel corn cools, it actually becomes crunchier. Okay, So this is what it looks like now. We've got 4 cookie sheets going into the oven, approximately 215, 220, and I'll set the timer for 15 minutes. And then when we come back, I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, it's been 15 minutes. So now we get to stir the caramel corn. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. We'll pull these out of the bottom rack. These are the 2 that are on the bottom. And I'm just gonna gently stir them. Again, I'm trying to do it as quickly as possible because you want the caramel corn to stay hot to put back into the oven. Now, I don't know if you realized it, but the bottom of the oven is usually hotter than the top of the oven. So here's what I do. I now take the 2 that were on the bottom and I put them on the top, like so. All right. Ugh. Now I will gently stir these guys just a little bit. It's not like you're not stirring them a lot. You're just moving them on the cookie tray so that they don't stick, but also so like, you know, they're baking and they're getting crispy and you don't want the caramel corn to stick, okay? I mean, that's it. All right, so now the ones that were on the top shelf are now on the bottom shelf. All right, we are going to go for 15 more minutes and I'll be right back. Okay, 15 minutes, and the second 15 minutes is up. I thought I'd give you a little closer angle of what the caramel corn looks like when it's out of the oven. Okay, so these are the ones that were on the bottom shelf. And we just give them a little stir, like so. Okay. I can tell they're starting to get, baked. They're getting there, a little crunchy. Not much, but some of them fall off the tray. Okay. Oh, right. Okay, so now we put these on the top shelf. Great, and we'll put these on these came off of the top shelf. These will now be the bottom shelf guys when they go back in. We'll stir. We know it's fun and interesting because you're taking it out of the oven every 15 minutes. Take a little piece of the caramel corn and see what it tastes like every time it comes out of the oven to see the different doneness of the caramel corn. Of course, it's kind of hard to make this delicious caramel corn without taste testing and eating some of it, right? Take a look. Of course, it's hot because it just came out of the oven, but mmm, mmm, mmm. Oh wow, it's that good. Mmm. You must know that's absolutely delicious. All right, we gotta go for another 15 minutes, and we'll be back. Okay, time to stir the caramel corn again. So it's been in the oven for 45 minutes now. We're gonna stir it, and then we have 15 more minutes left until it'll be all done and crispy and crunchy. Time to dig in. By now, when you pull the caramel corn out and you're stirring it, you can tell that it's starting to get crispy and crunchy, okay? Yeah, yum. Okay. There we go. So like I said, this makes I usually do this in the holiday time. Oh, usually I do. I can't even remember any Christmas where I did not make caramel corn and give it away as gifts. They have the booth at the farmers market. I can sell the caramel corn in the springtime, but when it starts getting hot and muggy outside, not a good time to make the caramel corn because if the caramel corn sits out in the muggy weather, it gets soft again. So this is a recipe that's best made in cooler temperatures, Christmas time for sure. Let's take one of these little kernels here and try it. Mmm. 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 Oh, well, it's starting to get crispy already. Now, you know when you bake and you cook at home and you know everything, some of my pans cook faster and some of them are, cookie sheets are thicker and everything. This one, for whatever reason, seems to cook the fastest. That popcorn, that caramel corn almost done. All right. 15 more minutes and then we are in caramel corn heaven. All right, I'll be back. Okay, the caramel corn is done. Okay, so now I pulled it out of the oven. I have these two big containers. I don't know why. These are just my caramel corn containers that I use every year to put the hot caramel corn into when it comes out of the oven. Okay, so you just scoop it out in there. If you had one big container or bowl or whatever, you can put it all in one. That's up to you. But again, it makes a relatively big batch of caramel corn. So that's why I use two containers. And I don't see any reason why, again, you could double this because it would just make too much. Be hard to work with. You just scoop it in there like so. Oh, ow, ow, ow. A little shorter in my hand, but yes, you need to work with this quickly too. I realize it's hot and everything, but if you leave the caramel corn on the cookie sheet, the longer you leave it on there, the more it sticks to the cookie sheet, right? And the little harder it is to get off. I mean, it is caramel. It's sticky, right? So, yep, I'll scoop it in there like so. Okay, so then, like I said, it's hot right now, but as it cools, I go and I do this, and I this one looks fuller than that one, so I'll just throw some in there, but you're breaking it up. And then as it cools down, it's nice and crunchy. You can put it in whatever tins if you want to give it away as gifts. I put it in Ziploc bags. Works well in Ziploc bags too, or you had decorative little containers for Christmas or something. Mmm, 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 mmm. Oh my God. The best caramel corn ever, as my family and friends will attest to, for over 30 years. The best caramel corn ever. So here it is. Okay, I hope you get a chance to make this caramel corn. And let me know how it came out for you. Macrovale.com is my website. You can send me an email right through my website. It says send Val an email. Or on this video, you can comment below and let me know how it came out for you. And make sure to hit that like button. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. That's very important. And for now, it's holiday season, so get in the kitchen and cook healthy.